real strong earnings. I mean, if I look at Azure growth and cloud, I think it's really fueling the engine. It shows that there's some share gains here versus AWS. You look at some of the nervousness overall in cloud, Workday, ServiceNow. I view this as a feather in the cap for the bulls. Knee-jerk stocks down a bit, but ultimately this is what the bulls need to drive the stock higher.
When you look at the cloud numbers from Microsoft, we've seen some signs that CEOs and companies are starting to maybe slow down, tap the brakes on some of their spending. Is this something that could affect that business?
No doubt, but I think you have to look where we are in the cycle. I mean, only about 30% of workloads are in the cloud today, going to 55% in the next 3 years. So we still in the second, third inning of this, and I think when you look where Microsoft and Nadella are focused, and you look at these earnings supporting that, we're still kind of in the early innings of this growth cycle in cloud starting to transform. I think that's the key with these numbers.
Ed Lee, was this cloud print good enough?
Yeah, no, the cloud, I'm with Dan here. I think that cloud number is really impressive. And, to the earlier point about, where things are shaking out in the economy and investment and capital improvements and stuff, I think cloud is one of those things that they can't let go of. They can't skimp on just because so much of business operations are part of that now. So it's really the fabric of the business. And, it's just what's going to be one of the last things you sort of want to shave down. Maybe you slow down some of the investment, but it's just going forward. That's where everything goes, and also just as the internet grows, cloud grows. So that's where the future growth is going to come from.
Yeah, and just to dig into this a little bit more, Dan. I mean, there has been this controversial, beleaguered, delayed. It's now like even kind of further delayed because the defense secretary is stepping back from it. But this JEDI cloud contract for the Pentagon, potentially valued at up to $10 billion over 10 years. Not necessarily the biggest contract out there, but seen as one that is truly a dogfight between Microsoft and Amazon, and one that could, depending on who wins it, really sort of set the stage for further government contracts. How closely are you watching that, and how much could government migration to the cloud mean for a company like Microsoft?
Yeah, it's a great question. We watch JEDI extremely close down the beltway, and I think right now, I mean, it's caught in a bit of red tape, but ultimately, you go back a year ago, it was an 80% chance for Amazon Bezos to win. Today it's 50-50, and I think ultimately tip in the hands of potentially Microsoft win the deal. You look at government where they are today, only 8 to 10% have upgraded to the cloud. So this is really something from Microsoft. JEDI is the Super Bowl of cloud. And I think over the coming weeks, we hope to get some sort of details, but in terms of where Microsoft sits here, they're in a position of strength. A few years ago, definitely in more of a back against the wall.
Ed, what about Office, LinkedIn, any other things that jump out for you in the Microsoft numbers?
LinkedIn, I think, was really interesting. I mean, we just generally like to know more about how they're monetizing it, but, revenue's up 25%. I mean, that's huge, that's big. Of course, on a relative basis, it's a much smaller business, but how they're monetizing, how they're taking better advantage of it. I know they have sort of the LinkedIn Premium, which a lot of HR offices and recruiting firms use, as well as just companies in general. But how they can tap into that better, we want to know more about.